Color Me Happy. I'm Michelle,
And I'm Linda.
and we are so glad you're joining us today. And I just realized I'm looking in the wrong place. So this is probably better. Anyway, we're so glad you're joining us today. And if you have been here before, welcome back. And if you're new, we are natural dyers in Fishers, Indiana. And our studio is called Color Me Happy Fiber Art Studio.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it makes us happy.
Yes. And we want you to be happy with your projects too. And so, Color Me Happy just is a perfect name for us because we love color, we love nature, and all the ways that Mother Nature can bring color to us. It's great.
And one thing you might not know about us, we've been doing the Fibrary Challenge. So if you follow us on Instagram, you might have learned a little bit more about our backgrounds. But Michelle and I both, in our day jobs, have an interest in brain health. And so we are really passionate about how nature is very good for your brain and doing things with your hands is very good for your brain, both physical, mental, spiritual health, all of that. So Color Me Happy just really comes out of all of that, and hopefully, like Michelle said, brings lots of joy to you like it does to us.
Yes. And Linda, you mentioned our day jobs.
Yes?
My day job is going to be changing.
No, because
Oh,
Michelle
sorry.
is smarter than I am and is going to be able to retire soon and spend even more time naturally dyeing yarn.
Yes.
The dream.
The dream. I'm so excited. It is a bittersweet thing. I've been at the university for my whole adult life, I would say.
And you've been
So-
such a wonderful mentor for young adults who are in their graduate programs. So I know that's from working with I also work with young adults, and so you do feel like there's such a gift in being able to be with them and stay young and also pass down things that you've learned, and I'm sure that's going to be kind of a hard thing to change. But you'll keep doing that in other ways, I'm sure.
Yeah. And I still have the students I'm working with, I still have 2 left who will go on internship this year, so they don't need me as much. And so it felt like a good time to be able to step back and still work with them. And now we're doing teaching and mentoring with our natural dyeing too.
Right.
So that's
Just a different field
just a different field. So
where you don't have to write papers all the time.
no,
You could.
you could.
I can see the wheels are turning already, Michelle.
I know. Well, I've been thinking about when we write up our results from different tests that we try. I mean, we're still doing the same kind of scientific process.
We are. I could write a methods section for our experiments because I'm used to doing it for my day job.
Yeah. Yeah. So what are you excited about?
Well, one thing I'm excited about is, we pay attention to the seasons, and we try to bring in seasonal colors and seasonal bases. What do you want to knit with in the spring and in the summer versus in the fall or the winter? And so we decided to bring in something new this spring, which is a lace weight yarn. We haven't done that before. That's a really lovely merino silk combination, and so we have been choosing colors and dyeing lace weight yarns, and that has been really fun. Those sort of soft spring colors. I have my personal favorite, since green is my favorite color, right here. This is our moss color, and on the merino silk lace weight yarn. So that's been really exciting. And then I guess I could talk about this now. It's not really a project, but because of that, we've been trying to choose a couple of patterns for a knit along. So if you're hearing this now in February or March or something, just know that in April, our lace weight skeins will go live, and we'll have them at the Greencastle Wool Show. That'll be our first fiber festival, and we'll start a knit along, so a 1 skein lace weight shawl project that will not be super complicated. Some people love knitting with lace weight, and they knit these beautiful shawls that have like rose medallions and vines and leaves, and I think those are beautiful, but I do not like having to pay that much attention and counting, and so we're going to choose a couple of patterns that are just a simple like straight row, like maybe a 6-row repeat or something. So I've been swatching.
Yes, I have not seen your swatches up
So
close.
just trying to decide if we're going to design a simple, row repeat pattern, or if we're going to choose one from Ravelry, or maybe we'll have a couple different ones.
So soft and light.
It is really soft and light. And then I played around, I put beads on a couple ones, just thinking like, how is that going to change the weight and the drape of the fabric? And I'm kind of liking the beads. I feel like at least along the edge or something, it might be nice to have a little beaded edge or something.
I like this stripe in the middle. Can you hold this and I'll put my arm behind it?
Yeah.
Because I think like with the black.
It's got a little flower. Yeah.
I saw paws.
Oh, paws?
I think because I want a puppy. I'm not gonna,
You're obsessed with getting a puppy?
I'm not going to get a puppy.
Well,
but
plus this one isn't quite right, so maybe it looks more like a paw.
Okay, this one's a paw, this one's a flower. But that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I just had a lot of fun trying different...
Yeah, I like that. And I like the beads too. Ooh, that's pretty.
Yeah, something with columns like that is really simple. So if you've never done lace weight and you think, oh, it's too fiddly, it'll fall off the needles, you use a big needle. Like I think these were knit on a 7, maybe a 6. But you use a big needle, and when it's a relatively straightforward pattern, something like this, these columns, it's really just knit stitches and yarn overs. It's not hard to keep track of. It's not hard to keep it from falling off your needles. And then the idea is this makes a really lovely lightweight shawl that's perfect for summer if the evening's a little cool or you're in the air conditioning at a restaurant or something. So we thought it would be really fun. We've not had any lace weight bases before, and I wish you could feel it because the silk makes it really drapey, and it's like a little cloud. It's so soft.
Yeah.
So I am really excited about the lace weights, and soon we'll be picking our patterns and knitting a couple of test samples. So if you have any lace weight simple shawls that you love, send those pattern ideas to us because we need to pick a couple.
Yeah, put them in the comments below so we could
yeah.
kind of add them to our list and see. But these are also lovely. I think you could design your own too.
Yeah, we might decide to do that. It's not, I would like it. My vision is for it to be a rectangle so you can really wrap it around yourself and be simple.
Yeah,
So really it is just knitting a row repeat. I've been looking at some lace patterns, that are in pattern books and things like that. So maybe we'll just design our own.
Although if we did that, it probably wouldn't be ready by April because we'd have to have test knitters and stuff.
That's true. Although it really is so simple. It's, cast on 54 stitches and knit these 6 rows over and over and over. So maybe I wouldn't worry quite as much about it not having test knitting because it's not sized really.
That's true. And if you and I and Sarah do one,
Right. So we'll see. Stay tuned, and hopefully you'll join our knit along either in person. We've never talked about this, but we could consider if people are not living in central Indiana and want to join the knit along, we could even do a Zoom version of the knit along. I just talked to someone, a customer that was here, who mentioned a silent knitting group that she joined.
Silent?
So interesting.
I can't imagine being in a knitting group and being silent because we chat and
we do.
talk. Yeah.
But I thought this sounded very calming. So that they get together either once a week or every 2 weeks on Zoom. The first hour, it's 2 hours. The first hour, everyone just knits. And so you're present on the camera, but you're not talking. And then the second hour, everyone just goes around and talks about what they're working on. And so they all share what they've been working on that way. So they so it's silent for the first part, and then they talk about what they're working on. This is, I think, a group maybe that has people all over the country. So I could see how you might want to restrict Like if there's too much talking, or if there's talking about a topic that some people don't want to talk about, that could be off-putting.
Or stressful.
Or divisive, right? So I thought that sounded so interesting. I had not heard that.
Oh, that is interesting.
I don't think we'll be doing silent knitting. We like to talk.
Yeah.
But we would love to have you join us.
Spaces of quiet.
Yes.
So one of the podcasts that I watch sometimes, it's a newer one, is Flannel Purls.
Mm-hmm.
And Christopher has 2 different podcasts, I think.
Mm-hmm.
He might have more now, but one of them is At the Table, and he knits mostly quietly, and every once in a while he'll say something in his calm, soothing voice.
Mm-hmm.
But it's mostly you and him knitting together,
Mm-hmm.
or stitching, or crocheting,
Mm-hmm.
or embroidery, whatever.
And the
you're
video's
doing.
kind of just on his hands working? Or
No, it's on him,
on
and
him.
he's working,
Mhm.
and just quiet and soothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I've followed along on some of those, and knit along with it, and
Mhm.
it's just nice.
Mhm.
So you're not knitting alone. I don't mind
Right.
being alone, but knitting with someone else there is
Yeah.
nice too. So, okay, so I can see the silent
Okay.
knitting group now.
So that
Very
is what
cool.
I have been excited about. What have you been excited about, Michelle?
Well, 2 things. One personal thing is that my daughter Eleni is visiting with her boyfriend Joe. They may come over this morning, hopefully not while we're videotaping, but he hasn't seen the studio yet. So they're in town, and the younger boys are going to come over, and we're all going to Anderson, Indiana, where I grew up, and we're going to eat at the Lemon Drop.
Oh, I think I see where this is going.
Yes. So I've been thinking about this for a week now, the planning. The Lemon Drop is one of those old-fashioned diners where there really is a table, and you would get the little lemon drops when you were done at the end of the evening. And there's like a little bar area, not a drinking bar, but a soda bar. Countertop. Right. And then they're actually doing the cooking right there behind you. And we used to go there all the time when I was a kid, and I would get the little grilled cheese sandwiches that are pressed flat, and the skinny French fries. And I've been thinking about that for a week, so I'm excited. So that's one thing I really am excited about. Has nothing to do with fiber arts. The other thing I am excited about is copper as a premordant. And the last couple of videos that we've done, the monthly shows, this podcast, I have shown some of the experiments we've been doing with reds, and a couple of times we've noticed some interesting things with copper. We know copper as a premordant can help shift colors towards more purples if you're using reds rather than using alum.
Because it adds some blue-green color.
Blue-green colors. But just when you think you've got it sort of figured out, something happens and it changes. And to me, that's one of the most exciting things about natural dyes, is trying to find the right color when you're doing things.
And the right process.
And the right process
Sometimes
to make it.
The colors you think will make a certain combination, but then it's the process, that it's what you do with them as you're putting them together that can really make a big difference.
Yes. And I did not pay you to say that, but that happened to me this week. So for people who follow our stories on Instagram, I posted one where I was holding up this skein, which I think is beautiful. In this lighting, it might be kind of hard to tell, but it's blue and green.
It looks like a Mediterranean ocean.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking a picture of Mother Earth from a distance,
yeah.
like the green and blue swirling together. I was so excited. So when this came
It's really
out,
pretty.
and this was, I said I was channeling Bob Ross because it was a happy
right.
accident
Right.
that I I was filming some videos on how to do hand painting.
Mm-hmm.
So one of our customers for a class that we did, some of the feedback we got was it would be really nice to see you applying the natural dyes. And we do that in small classes, but she was part of a large class. We had 25 people, and there wasn't another table for us to do it. And I thought, well, I'll just do a video. So we'll have a video and people could see it and see us. So I had Rich, my husband, out there, and I gave him some weld and an alum skein, and he put the yellow on, and we steamed it and videotaped it. Well, when it came out, weld by itself is sometimes pretty intense, and he put it on very intensely.
And it was on the flaxen base?
On the flaxen base. And it came out glow in the dark yellow, like crime tape yellow. It was just too much. And so I thought, oh, I'm going to fix this. I'm going to throw it in a pot of copper that was left over from a premordant. So it had a little bit of copper in it, but not a lot. And I thought that will shift it green because we have yellow and we're putting it in copper, which is a blue tone to begin with. And that's one way that we make moss colors is copper and yellow. It came out chartreuse. So just a hint of green, not green enough. So I said, okay, I'm going to put some logwood in it because sometimes we put logwood and weld and copper and whammo, you get green.
Logwood green is kind of an old and famous recipe in natural dyeing.
Right.
Because greens are hard to get in general.
Right. So I did that, and it came out. I had the green, and I had a little bit of the blue from the logwood and the copper together. So I thought, with this happy accident, I would try to recreate it. But I didn't follow the same process because we got there a very roundabout way. So instead, I took my alum premordanted, I drizzled some weld on it, cooked it, put it in copper, and then I added logwood at the end, and you know what? It came out purple.
That's a very, almost like between a purple and like a cornflower blue. It's definitely got a lot of blue in it, but it's more purple.
It's more
logwoody.
Yeah, I think if I take a picture of these in the light box, people will be able to see it better.
Yeah, we should do that so you can see the variegation.
So it still is pretty. It's got more of an olive green with the purple tones, whereas this is more of a grassy green with the bluer tones.
Right.
Same base, but different process. Same base, same materials, same pre-mordant, post-mordant, different
same
color.
amount of logwood per weight of fiber?
Yes, same amount of logwood per weight of fiber.
Yeah, that's really surprising, isn't it?
It is.
The other thing that's tricky about this particular base, this is our flaxen base, which is another springtime base, which is why we're working on it now. And it's a mix of alpaca, linen, and silk. And alpaca is different than merino. Obviously, it's a different animal, but it takes up natural dyes really differently. So I was a little surprised when you said that when Rich painted the weld on the flaxen, since it is like 40% alpaca, alpaca doesn't take up weld and goldenrod as strongly. So I was surprised to hear you say you got like a crime tape yellow.
Yes.
Because normally the alpaca takes it up kind of weakly. And in the past, when we've tried to use some of our recipes that have weld or goldenrod on like an 80% alpaca skein, it's just kind of a dull yellow.
Yeah. I'm going to be right back because you have to see
Okay.
this. Okay.
This is where the intro music plays. The Jeopardy music, maybe.
Okay. So this is a different hand-painted skein. But here's the weld.
Boy, that is really intense.
It is very intense. I don't know, the color rendition, when I do the film editing later tonight, I'll try to make sure it's exact.
Or we'll show a picture in the light box.
Yeah, I can put it in the light box. But it's pretty intense.
That is really intense.
Yeah. So, trying to figure things out. Always
learning. And we
learning.
don't have as much experience with linen, and that's 40% linen. So maybe the linen takes the weld really strongly or something. That is certainly possible.
But it shouldn't, because
it
I
wasn't
didn't.
tanned.
Yeah, I didn't
Right.
use a tannin.
This is why it's an art, not a science.
Right. There's some science.
There's a lot of science, but
There's science.
Either that or we just say that because we don't understand all the science yet.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I've been fascinated with copper as a premordant and a postmordant and a color shifter. I want to learn everything there is about it. So we'll be doing some more experiments on copper. What's in your project bag? Oh, wait, you know what we didn't do?
What?
What are we wearing?
Oh, yes.
Because we didn't dye these, but
No.
we made them.
This is a very old
Did you
like
have that on a-
sweatshirt pattern. I might have had it on in a prayer video. It's cold here today, and so it's really warm. It's a Noro silk garden.
Yes, you did wear that once, I think.
I really like this pattern, and I wear this sweater when it's warm because it's so warm and cozy, and if I want to, I can even
Got a
put
hoodie.
my hood up. I can be like Little Red Riding Hood.
Little blue stripy riding hood.
What are you wearing?
That's
This
cute.
is really pretty.
So this is what I call my faded t-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
I made it up myself.
It's really nice.
But I made it up.
I might have guessed that we naturally dyed it, and I was thinking, I don't remember doing that. Did
No.
you do all that in Florida or something?
No. No. This is pre-Color Me Happy.
Okay.
As
Is this?
Yeah. And the top is from Caitlin Hunter's Novelli
Mm-hmm.
top. I loved how the lines of it.
Mhm.
And so I used that. And then I
'Cause
just,
it's got this ribbing that comes all
It
the way
has
out
the
to
ribbing,
the shoulders.
yeah. And I can't remember how I modified it or whatever, but that was my starting point. And then I made it more like a vest, because I did make it in Florida a couple of years ago. And it fades.
It's so pretty. I love how that green and blue comes in. Yeah.
Isn't that awesome?
It's really gorgeous.
So the yarn is by Barnyard Knits,
Okay.
and she is an indie dyer who I love her use of speckle.
Mm-hmm.
And I think before her, I wasn't a big speckle person, but it just makes such richness
Mm-hmm.
in your
I love
colors.
speckles.
Yeah,
Yeah. So was this
So-
2 different colorways that you blended together?
it's three.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sock weight, but I
Oh.
am impatient.
Uh-huh.
So actually, when you said you wanted to do lace weight, I was thinking, oh no, I can't knit with lace weight. I barely knit with sock weight unless I double it.
Well, but it's on big needles.
Big
I
needles,
feel
yeah.
that way too. That's different. Yeah.
Big needles I can do. So I took sock weight, I doubled it,
Mhm.
and I took 2 of one color, and then when I got down here, I took 1 of one
Yeah.
color, 1 of the next.
That's a really nice way to do a fade if you have skeins at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, put 2 together and then switch out one color and then switch to the
Yeah.
next, and it makes a lovely fade.
I love doing that. And so you can wear it in the summer
Mhm.
because it's, I think it's an MCN base or maybe merino nylon. But
Okay.
anyway, it's lightweight, it's
Mhm.
superwash. But
It's a good transitional
because it's
piece.
cold, I put on my
Yeah.
little turtleneck and I
Right.
can wear it both. And I do have more of the details on what I did on my Ravelry
Okay,
page.
great. So if people are interested,
Yeah.
they can go there.
You can go to my Ravelry
This is on my
page.
Ravelry page too.
Okay.
What is your Ravelry name?
MP Sallier and your lady
I'm Linda Bird.
Linda Bird. I always want to say
Yeah.
Lady Bird. Linda Bird.
Linda Bird.
But down in the show notes we have that stuff
Oh, good.
linked. So Okay, so now,
Yes.
finished objects.
Finished objects. I have a finished object. Do you?
Okay, I have
Multiple.
2
One.
in the other room.
Oh, okay. One finished object I gave away.
Uh-huh.
So it's the Snow Wonder sweater.
yes.
I showed it as a project bag last time. So that was really, really a fun sweater to make. It has bobbles on the front. We'll put a picture in that make a snowflake pattern.
Uh-huh.
And it was really fun to knit for a little 8-year-old and kid sweaters. And this was a sport weight. I think the pattern is DK, but our Pure Merino sport weight, I was able to get gauge with that, and it just really turned out lovely. So that was a fun finished object. I'm in the gifting, like Christmas is over, but I'm still in the gifting mode, I guess, because my husband's niece is having a baby, and so I made a baby blanket. And except for weaving in the ends, which I haven't done yet, that is also done.
Oh, that's
show that
so
here.
pretty.
So this is our tumbling triangles. This is a free pattern, and this is something that we designed.
The ball.
As it's got little bobbles on the edge, because when my daughter was little, she always loved feeling the edge of her blanket. So this makes me think of her.
I could see that.
And it's a 2 skein project, DK weight. And it really allows you to do a lot of color play. We've made a lot of these blankets. You know, my husband's niece really loves dark colors, and the baby's room has like a night sky on the ceiling with planets and things like that. So for her, I chose a variegated blue and gray. And it's a fun construction. It's based on the multi-diagonal washcloth pattern, which is a free pattern. And so if you're interested, you can go to our website. It's the first thing on our Kits and Patterns page, and you can download it for free and try it yourself. But it's a really nice size stroller blanket, kind of a square size, not a big blanket, but really easy to carry along. So that is done, and I'll weave in the ends today, and then I will send it off because she is due in March. So
Fun.
the clock is ticking.
Yeah. Okay. So now we're back with my finished objects.
What do you have as finished objects, Michelle?
Okay. The first one, this is my traveler
Ooh, with your
Cowl.
hand spun.
with my hand spun.
That
So
is gorgeous.
last month, my hand spun was one of my finished objects.
Oh, right. We said you get to count it twice, which seems fair if you've done the spinning.
Yeah. If you're spinning, you know,
That is beautiful.
making the yarn by itself,
It's a project.
it's a project in and of itself.
Right.
I love this.
Yeah.
I love the colors.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
And you hold 2 skeins, you alternate skeins, right?
No.
No.
It is one skein, and you're just changing between purling
Oh.
and
So it's not designed
knitting.
as a 2-color project.
no, but I think she did her first one with a color with hand spun,
Mm-hmm.
and then she's done some other one. It's Andrea Mowry.
Mhm.
I don't think I said that yet, but I'll put it up
Mhm.
there. Anyway, it's hand spun, or I think she used spin cycle maybe, but a color
Mhm.
changing kind of yarn, so that you can see it
Mm-hmm.
move, the
Right.
colors move. And this is one where I sort of went off the grid again. That's not really right.
You embellished.
I embellished.
You modified.
I made a mistake, a big mistake. So like you're knitting along and you
It's
think
okay. You can call it a modification. You don't
That's
have to
right.
call it a mistake.
it's a
It's a
design
happy
choice.
accident.
Yeah, I have a lot of happy accidents because I don't follow instructions very carefully. I thought that I had the pattern in my head, and this is one of those, once you get the pattern down, you can knit it anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have it with me, and I just kept going and going. So the first side was too long.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, oh, no big deal. It's all crumpled up here anyway.
I'll make the whole thing bigger, or
I'll just make the whole
Yeah.
thing bigger and fold it over. But I forgot with hand spun, I had one skein.
Yeah, you can't go back and get more of that.
No. I did consider one option would be, do I frog it back to the corner?
Mm-hmm. That would be
No.
frustrating.
I didn't want to, there's just so many things to knit.
Yeah.
Then the other thing I thought briefly was, could I contact the dyer, see if she had any more of this base in
Then
this
you have to
colorway?
spin it.
Yeah. Then I'd have to spin it, and it would be another month before
Right.
I would get it all done.
Right.
So I just decided to end it early, and then I folded over the long half,
Mm-hmm.
and then the short half, and then sewed them together.
So you sewed it together in a different way. Normally with this kind of bandana cowl, you're making like this parallelogram shape.
Correct.
And you pull the two edges in the back,
right.
and then the pointed part where you've done the increasing, and then
Is in the
decreasing is in the front.
So
yeah.
this seam area is where it should be longer.
Right.
Mine was too long, so I folded it over on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
So one side is folded in half, and the other side is not.
Mm-hmm. So one side curls down at the neck, and the other side doesn't have the curl. But you don't really notice that.
No, when you wear it.
Because it all folds over anyway. at the
Yeah.
neck. Yeah.
So I'm just delighted because then it's still one skein,
Mm-hmm.
hand spun,
Yeah.
and
Beautiful colors.
yeah, I love her sense of colors. This
Mhm.
is the woolly lizard.
Mm-hmm.
She's out in the near Cortez, I think,
Mhm.
Colorado. Anyway,
Beautiful.
that was so cute.
Yeah, that's
So
great.
that's one finished object.
Okay.
My second finished object, I finally finished that baby sweater with the embroidery. This had a whole drama. I think I talked about this last month, that I was afraid to do the embroidery.
Right.
And the original sweater is called the Daisy. Oh, I thought I had written it down. Okay. I'll put it in the show notes. All right. The original pattern is called the Daisy Cardigan.
Mm-hmm.
And I will put that in the, put a picture, but it's in the notes below. And I think her name is Julie Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not that sweater because I started with that sweater, and instead of long sleeves, I made it short sleeves. Instead of buttons all down the front, I just put one button. And instead of daisies, I did something totally different. So this is how it ended up. Ta-da!
Oh, that's so cute. And I love the little button. That's a nice accent color with your embroidery.
Yeah.
And the
So
embroidery is so cute. Did you use ribbon?
no, this is embroidery floss.
Oh, okay.
I started by using some of our sock yarn,
Mm-hmm.
and I did not have the little Solvay paper that you do,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't have the embroidery book
Mm-hmm.
because it's yours.
Right.
And so when I first started with the sock yarn,
Mm-hmm.
I just was making little flowers with
Mhm.
that. And the little stitch I did, when I pulled it, it kind of made them look too pointy. And I'll
Okay.
insert a picture because I did both sides. I had flowers on both sides, and they looked like little weird stars
Oh, okay.
instead of flowers.
Mm-hmm.
Then the baby was born, and the baby's name is Lily.
Oh.
And I said, I'm going to make a
Yeah.
lily. And
That seems harder. Like the shape of the lily is harder than the shape of a daisy, for sure.
it is. So what I did
But it
was
looks beautiful.
I took a picture of the lily that I had on my camera,
Mm-hmm.
and I got some Solvay paper finally.
Mm-hmm.
I laid it over. I traced it,
Mm-hmm.
and then this didn't fit in one of those hoops because it's
Mhm.
right at the edge.
Mm-hmm.
So I based it on,
Mm-hmm.
and I've got pictures of this
Yeah.
process, so I'll put
It's
them
nice
in
to
there.
baste it on so your flowers or whatever you're embroidering will stay in alignment with your columns of stitches.
Yeah. Yeah.
It looks great.
So I had that. I'm not sure. I'm not an embroidery person. I've only done a little bit, and I was not sure at first. And I posted a picture on our stories without the button and said, "Is it? I don't need a button because it's a choking hazard, or of course you need a button." And the vast majority said, "Of course you need a button." So
I think especially with the contrast color, it looks nice.
yeah. And it turns out my neighbor had a whole bunch of extra buttons.
Oh, perfect.
So
And
that's it.
I didn't bring it, but I did some more embroidery. I still haven't done my embroidery on knits because I am wanting to make sure that I can do it correctly. This is where you and I have different approaches that have strengths and weaknesses. I don't have it done. But I did, I have a book called A to Z Embroidery Stitches, which is really nice. And then they show some things where you use combinations of stitches. One of them was an apple blossom. So I did that. And it was helpful to think about like how you construct the petals and how a strategy of outlining them and then using little French knots in the middle.
Yeah.
So I would not have come up with that on my own if I were just trying to work on a picture. I think once you've probably done some, you have an idea of this would be the best fill-in stitch and this would be the best strategy for this or that.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a learning process.
Yes.
But I think it looks beautiful.
I'm glad you like it. I was not sure. And I did show it to a friend of mine and her mother. And I said, okay, if you're a new mom, would you like this? Or should I redo it? And they said, it's beautiful. Anything hand done is beautiful.
Right. And the thing is, because you're also a painter, I can see how you have incorporated that. And in embroidery, there's also, I don't know a lot about this, but I was reading a technique in embroidery is kind of like a photorealistic.
Yeah.
So and that's obviously
colors.
The approach you've used, where there's different colors that kind of highlight different parts of the petal, and so that's as important as choosing which stitch. So you have a knack for that, I can tell.
Well, thank you. I do love colors, and they make me happy. Okay, so those are my two finished objects.
Okay.
What's in your project bag?
Well, right now I only have one thing that I'm working on, which is kind of odd. I haven't started the lace shawl yet. That'll probably be the next thing, but I have some decisions to go there. But I am working on a shawl that I have been staring at and coming back to for several months. I don't know if you use Ravelry. I'll favorite things. I'll put them in a bundle so I can save them by category, and then there are certain things you just keep looking at and keep looking at. And this was one of those, so I knew that I had to make it. And it is called the Artus Shawl. It is by Natasha Hornsby.
Oh, I'm seeing the colors.
It's a big shawl, so it's a wintertime project, and I just loved it. It's a combination of just regular knitting, color work, and a lot of mosaic.
Oh my goodness.
So I will hold it up.
This way. Wow. Oh, Linda, this is gorgeous.
Isn't it pretty?
I love your colors.
Well, this is pretty much similar to the color choices that
her
she
original
has,
one. Oh,
which is interesting. Often I see something and want to change it.
Yeah,
hers is a little different,
it.
But I kind of kept a similar vibe, not totally the same. My dark green, she has a gray, like a dark gray.
Okay.
And instead of this warmer brown, she has a real olive color. But I also I started thinking about it, and I love the mosaic section where the color contrast is.
Yeah.
And I happen to have been in Arizona twice in the past 6 months, and going to some national parks and really reading a lot about Native American culture and seeing textiles and pottery. And it really struck me that this looks so much like Navajo or Diné basket weaving.
Oh, yeah.
And so I started to think like this texture is like a basket, and then they make these wedding baskets where they have mountains and sun motifs that are these triangular motifs. And so I really thought, oh, these colors will be like a basket. And then I decided I also wanted to, because I love trees and was thinking about, trees as sort of these wisdom sentinels, and they live so long, and I decided I wanted to dye everything with tree dyes. So this is also,
This is your tree.
it's my tree artist shawl. Yeah, so walnut, Osage orange is the came out a little more yellow than it sometimes.
More goldy,
more golden in our pure merino. This is pure merino non-superwash sport, our regional spun in Indiana wool.
I love that.
And then the greens come from logwood and copper, like we were talking about. The logwood is a Caribbean tree that gets used. So, and hickory. There's also some hickory
Nice.
underlying the yellow. Yeah, in this lighter, the little lighter green that I'm just getting started on.
Okay. So your green, instead of weld, you used hickory as your yellow base.
Yes, which does not make a fluorescent yellow. It makes
Correct.
a warmer, soft yellow.
Buttery.
In her shawl, this is a really beautiful turquoise, which could take you in that southwestern direction too, but that would be, without indigo, a tricky color for us to make.
Yeah.
And I thought this all went well together, and so I'm probably 2/3 of the way done, and it's so warm
and squishy soft.
it's so
That's gonna
soft.
be fun.
Yeah, I think it'll be really
to
fun.
wear.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to finishing that
It's
up.
gorgeous.
Thank
I
you.
love all these different patterns and textures in the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, different stitch patterns in the same pattern.
In the same
is what
shawl.
Yeah,
Right.
in the same shawl.
It's not quite as big as a Stephen West shawl, but it's
Mhm.
big.
Yeah.
But I found it really,
It'll be
quick.
like a blanket.
it'll be really warm. Yeah, probably since it's 60 degrees in February in Indiana, I won't need it until the fall.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
And it'll be
nice.
perfect fall colors. too.
Yes, right. So
So-
that is the only thing that is in my project bag at the moment.
Wow. Okay. Oh, we have a customer.
So what's in your project bag, Michelle? What are you working on?
Well, I think I brought this last time. My sweater that I started with
Yes, with
PetiteKnit.
The blues
The
and the greens.
Yes. And
Oh, look how far you've come.
I am
Wow.
on Sleeve
Sleeve
Island.
jail. Sleeve Island.
So
Oh, that feels so good.
Isn't
That
it is
is a
so
gorgeous
squishy.
fabric.
Okay. So here it is. I have, so this is the Eva Cardigan by PetiteKnit. I have not done the ribbing at the bottom yet because I wanted to make sure I had enough yarn for the sleeves.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to make my sweaters bigger than I probably need.
You just like bulky,
Yeah, I
loose,
like loose,
drapey sweaters.
snuggly
Mhm.
feeling and
Mhm.
not bound
Right.
kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
However,
But now you're worried you don't have enough.
now I'm worried. Well, for a while I was worried it was too big and I couldn't put it on because I didn't have my little things.
Mm-hmm.
And the barber cords,
Mm-hmm.
those are awesome. So I wanted to show you, I got Sarah's opinion yesterday. So I was a little worried it was going to be too large.
Mm-hmm.
But the sleeve is wide.
It is wide.
I have been following the directions exactly.
Is it a bit of a blouse on sleeve where then
No,
you have?
it's wide on her, but when it gets to her wrist, it's only like this wide.
Okay. I mean, you could make your ribbing and just have it be kind
Be
of a
blousy.
blouse on, I think is the right word.
Oh, that could be cute.
That could be cute, I think.
Because what we were thinking was that I need to go back to my elbow and instead of decreasing like the pattern, decrease sooner. See my.
I dislike going back so much that I would not do that. And I think
Yeah.
it would look cute because it has a blousy look anyway.
It does.
So
maybe just
de-
change.
decreasing down here to your ribbing count, and then you have a sleeve that's, a little bit more blousy.
Puffy.
But I think that could look really nice.
So I'm ready for the ribbing.
All right.
Instead of redoing,
No frogging back.
I almost frogged back
No
last night,
frogging.
and then I was like, no, I'm going to wait and do this with Linda and see what she says. But I love that idea.
Yeah, because I think it would fit with the style of the cardigan being
more
bigger
like
and drapey, having lots of positive ease is what they'll call it in the knitting pattern, so that there's lots more circumference than your actual bust or chest circumference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would fit with the way the design is.
That it looks.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hopefully PetiteKnits won't mind too much that I'm going to add a zipper and change the cuffs.
I mean, you bought the pattern. I don't think there's anything for anyone to complain about.
No. And that's the thing about knitting is that as a knitter, you are a designer too.
Right.
You're picking the colors you want. You might change things a little bit. And
absolutely.
So
that makes it fun.
Yeah.
To make everything your own, whether it's because of the color change or you actually change something about the design.
Yeah.
Or you make a mistake and you say, I'm going to finish it anyway.
I'm going to fix this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Still looks just the same.
Absolutely.
It's good. All right. And then there's one other small thing in my project bag. I have a lot of whips in the house that have turned into UFOs. Unfinished
objects.
Also unidentified because they probably don't have enough notes
Right.
in them. But I have started swatching to make a shawl.
In your favorite color?
In my favorite color. There is a photograph that I took on a visit a couple of years ago out into the desert, and I loved the spring colors.
Oh, I remember this photograph.
Do you remember it? So I am working on designing
so it'll be a multicolor shawl.
It'll be multicolored.
So that it has the feel of a landscape, kind of? Oh, this will be nice.
Yes. So I'm looking at different stitch patterns. I think I'm going to make it one of those triangular crescent. So it's, I can't remember what it's called. It's some kind of special triangle.
Okay. And are you thinking it will use color work or intarsia or short rows? Like, how do you want to weave the different colors
color
in?
So 3 different colors is what I'm thinking. And this is flaxen too, so it's a DK weight but very light.
That's an alpaca linen silk blend.
And I'm thinking I might even go up a needle size so that you can see more of the holes.
So it'll be kind of lacy.
Yeah, a little bit lacy.
So you're not trying to create a picture like in color work or mosaic, but more the effect of the colors.
More the effect. So like flowers in the distance might have chunks of color with little openings. Then
and are you thinking short rows so that there's some here and some there? And
what I was thinking was some striping of like to blend this into the gray where the stones were. Some mosaic knitting, so you'd have a little bit of purple still coming out in the gray. So there'll be like 3 sections of the shawl. And then at the bottom some of the spring cactus colors, so we can get our favorite moss
greens
popping out.
Nice. And what's the third color then? So the purpley blue,
silvery,
and
it's like rocks.
Nice. Oh, that will be beautiful.
I think it'll be really pretty. So I started that last night.
Oh, that's exciting. That's such a creative process.
Yeah. So here's my pattern. Try to add another stitch early. The decreased side is not really decreasing. And try a size 6. And then on the back are
I'm sure that all makes sense to you, Michelle.
I know. Yeah, those are my notes. So we'll see. I have not designed that many things. I think I've only designed one thing that's officially a design and on Ravelry. But I have made up a lot of things myself.
Right.
And written notes.
It's hard to take adequate notes when you're knitting and designing
At the same
I haven't
time.
done a lot of it either, but the
Yeah.
bit that I have, even if it's really straightforward, like the baby blanket, you think, oh, I can just write this down. But then you really realize, oh, I don't, like, how exactly do I do that? If I were, like on the Great British Bake Off and like having to just give someone the recipe and see if they could follow it, like that's a totally different thing. So it is challenging to take good enough notes so that you can actually recreate it yourself and then have a test knitter and a tech editor for patterns. Really, those that are tech edited are the best for sure.
Yeah, they do a lot of good work.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, so that's it.
Well, that's exciting. We have
Yeah.
lots of new creative things to talk about. So I'm sure next month we will have another full episode of lots of fun things to show.
Yeah, we will.
And if you, in between now and then, have questions for us, please post those on our channel and we will answer them in our next episode.
That's right. All right. Well, happy making, and we will see you next month.
Bye.